All right, so I'm pretty sure that if you are interviewing this position, probably the most important thing that you're wondering about is how do I get paid, right? So, as an experienced account manager, it's fairly simple. You get paid 8% of the job and $100 for every contract you sign. So, what we also do is with an insurance job. So the way that an insurance job works for roofing, you will get about 50% of the check up front from the insurance company. It varies a lot by the job, and then the remainder of the money comes in after the job's complete. So the way that we do payouts to get people up and running is we pay $100 for every contract you signed, plus $500 for I'm sorry, $500 when you a $500 draw when you bring in the initial check and deductible from the insurance job, and then the remaining 8% when the job's paid in full. So our average job our average job right now is about $14,000. Obviously, the size of job that you close depends on the size of the doors you knock if you're out canvassing. Um, Several of our canvassers right now are basically only doing jobs that are $20,000 or higher. I mean, basically, it's like you don't go into a neighborhood if you're not going to make at least $20,000 in revenue off the job. But just to kind of keep it simple so that you can understand how it works. Uh, let's say you're closing jobs that are your average size jobs are $10,000. 8% of $10,000 is $800. You're required to sign a minimum of 5 contracts per week. So if you were to do 5 contracts per week, and all of them get bought, then that's $800 times 5. So that's $4,000 a week. If you do that all year, you're looking at earning $200,000 a year. Now, obviously, like I've said, if you're out canvassing, you should be canvassing jobs that are $20,000 or more. So your payout on those should be higher. Now, that's simple. I mean, once you're 6 months in, you're earning 8% on those jobs. The money's coming in. You should have kind of a pipeline where you're getting about 3 to 5 first checks every week. You're getting 3 to 5 like jobs that are paid in full every week. It all evens out to about $4,000 a week. Let's talk about what life is like as you are ramping up. Obviously, day one, you don't have jobs that are ending up paid in full. So let's kind of talk about that ramp up period. For the first 6 weeks, you are in training. We're going to pay you a training stipend of $600 a week while you are training, until you're basically first 6 weeks you get a training stipend of $600 a week. Once that 6 weeks is over, then we switch you to full commission. So you're going to be out selling during the first 6 weeks. You'll have expectations during the first 6 weeks. You should be getting sales put into your pipeline so that when that first 6 weeks is over, you're going to have first checks that are being collected at the end of that 6 weeks. So at the end of 6 weeks, you'll get paid $100 for every contract you sign. So this week, your minimum expectation is 5 contracts a week. So you're going to get $500 for signing contracts. Plus, anytime you bring in a first check from an insurance company, you're going to get $500 for that first check. So at the end of 6 weeks, you should be bringing in about 2 to 4 first checks from the insurance companies each week. So you get the $500 for signing contracts, plus an additional $1,000 to $2,000 for the first checks that you bring in. Now, we kind of talked about it should be about 4 to 8 weeks from the time you sign a contract until the job's paid in full. So, and also you've got kind of some ramp up period before you start signing 5 contracts a week. You're kind of improving and getting better. So you should have those first checks coming in week 6, and then about probably sometime in month 2, but by the end of the third month, you should have jobs that are starting to be paid in full. So in addition to that, the $500 for bringing the check in, you should be getting kind of the tail end of the job. So if you're signing jobs that are only $10,000 a piece, you're getting $800 for the job. So that'll be an additional, you got the $500 for bringing the first check in, and then you'll get an additional $300 when those jobs are paid in full. So again, if you're just signing, $10,000 jobs, when you start getting them paid in full, it should be, about 3 to 5 first checks coming in each week, plus an additional 3 to 5 jobs that are becoming paid in full. So that's an additional $300 for each one of those jobs if you're signing up jobs that are only $10,000 a pop. Now, if you're signing up jobs that are $20,000 a pop, your commission on that's going to be, let me do the math in my head, that should be $1,600 for those jobs. So you get $500 for bringing in the first check, and then $1,100 when the job's paid in full. That's why I encourage people to do, that's why I encourage canvassing as a way of sales over leads, because you can choose which jobs you want. I'd rather put five hours into making, a $1,600 commission than putting 5 hours into making an $800 commission, personally. I like to make more money per hour myself. So what that looks like is basically, in month 3, sometime between month 3 to 6 is when your pipeline kind of gets full steam going, so that you're earning about $4,000, $4,000 to $8,000 on a typical paycheck. Paychecks come out every 2 weeks. So, the minimum expectation once you're up and running is $100,000 a month. When you're following the ramp up period, the number of contracts you need to sign, the number of contracts that you're supposed to sign as you're ramping up will get you to exceed that $100,000 a month. But obviously, we want you to hit that quicker so that you're kind of in the money and making good money sooner rather than later, because you don't know how quickly any one job's going to get paid off. So obviously, you want to fill your pipeline as quickly as possible. So to recap, it's it's going to be $600 a week for the first 6 weeks. After that, you're going to get paid. You should be at $500 for the contracts you signed, plus an additional $1,000 to $2,000 a week for first checks that are coming in. And then at the end of month 3, you should be making about $4,000 every 2 weeks on your paycheck. So I know it's a little bit complicated. Hopefully you take notes. You come to the interview with some good questions. We can get this all hashed out there. So hope you understand how the ramp up process works in terms of pay. Long term, basically kind of the expectation or the way that it plays out for most people. Long term, after from 6 months on, you'll be making over $8,000 a month, and you can after from 6 months on, you'll be making over $8,000 a month. That's the mandatory minimum of what you're required to hit. A lot of people hit $150,000, $200,000, or they'll scale back their workload and say, I only need to make $100,000 a year, and so I can do that working 2 or 3 days a week. That's kind of what happens. One or the other. Either, hey, more money is always better. They go out and work 60 hours a week and hit $300,000 a year, or become more efficient and work 2 or 3 days a week and bring in $100,000 a year. Whatever works for you. We're here to support the lifestyle that you want.